Okay, I want you to imagine a startup reaching this absolutely staggering number, $100 million in revenue, and doing it in just 8 months. Now imagine they did it not by hiring some massive, sprawling army of engineers, but by simply vibe coding their way to the very top. I know, it sounds like a total gimmick, right? But what if I told you this is the actual reality of the fastest growing software startup in history? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are on a mission to forensically break down this exact milestone. We're going to examine a really fascinating Swedish company called Lovable, and we'll answer the big question. How did a platform that literally lets you talk to your computer to build software create a multi-billion-dollar valuation almost overnight? We've been told for decades that you absolutely must learn to code to build the future. Well, Lovable is betting that the only real limit is your creativity. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The vibe coding phenomenon. 2. The $100 million rise. 3. How to vibe code. 4. The hallucination tax. And 5. The future of software. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the vibe coding phenomenon. This is a massive shift in creation. So, vibe coding basically redefines the entire act of creation. The term was actually popularized by AI researcher Andrej Karpathy back in early 2025. It describes a style of building where you just fully give in to the vibes and quite literally forget that the code even exists. You aren't sitting there staring at a terminal anymore. You're just describing what you want. Imagine just casually asking for a minimalist sleep tracker with a dark mode and then watching a fully functional prototype emerge on your screen in a matter of minutes. It's wild. To put this into perspective, traditional coding means wrestling with API endpoints, debugging React hooks, dealing with endless syntax errors. Because of all that massive friction, traditional coding is accessible to maybe, 1% of the global population. But vibe coding completely flips the script. It operates on this describe it, ship it model. It allows you to use literally any spoken language to build your software. By just erasing the friction of syntax, Lovable is effectively expanding the surface area of who gets to be a builder to 100% of the population. Everyone is invited. Moving right along to Section 2, the $100 million rise. Let's look at some truly surreal financial metrics. The numbers behind Lovable are honestly hard to wrap your head around. And by the way, they were founded by a highly technical Swedish crew with deep backgrounds in applied AI research, so they definitely know their stuff. In just 8 months, they blew past $100 million in annualized revenue with 10 million projects built on the platform. By the 1-year mark, investors poured in a $200 million Series A at a $1.8 billion valuation. And get this, just weeks after that, inbound offers were reportedly valuing the company at $4 billion. So investors are signaling very loudly that this describe it, ship it model is not just a passing fad. It's a massive competitive advantage where you don't spend months talking about an idea, you just ship it this week. To really anchor these massive valuations with a concrete story, consider this number right here. $3 million. A Brazilian educational startup actually used Lovable to spin up a brand new application, and they generated this exact figure, $3 million, in just 48 hours. That is the sheer real-world velocity of vibe coding in action. All right, Section 3, how to vibe code. Let's talk about utilizing this magic in practice. So when you're actually testing the platform out to build, say, an app with a suggestion section, a voting system, maybe a chat forum, and a video feed, it becomes clear pretty quickly that sometimes the initial layouts can feel a little bit bland, and once a layout is set, it can actually be surprisingly hard to jazz it up exactly how you want just by typing text. So here is a massive pro tip straight from the source material for getting incredible designs. Step 1. Import an inspiration photo of an app you already love into ChatGPT. Step 2, ask ChatGPT to describe that image in super high detail text. And Step 3, feed that incredibly detailed text description directly back into Lovable. Now sure, it requires a bit of tweaking and fiddling, but for rapid prototyping without writing a single line of code, this workflow is remarkably functional. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Section 4, the hallucination tax. This is where we deal with the uncomfortable chaos. So the crucial point here is that vibe coding can very easily become a short-lived illusion.
Because these AI models are essentially, idiot savants that mimic logic rather than actually understanding it, they frequently hallucinate what are called phantom endpoints. And this creates massive security vulnerabilities. Take the recent T-app leak, for example, where 1.1 million personal messages were totally exposed simply because the app was vibe-coded without any encryption whatsoever. The result of all this? Developers end up paying a heavy hallucination tax. Basically, they spend hours just yelling at an LLM, trying to fix a tangled maze of bugs, when it probably would have taken less time to just write the code manually in the first place.
One educator perfectly summarized the inherent danger of this whole copy and paste culture. They said, it's like handing everyone a Ferrari without teaching them how to drive. Educators are deeply worried that beginners are entirely skipping the mathematical and logical fundamentals. They're essentially building massive, complex houses without understanding a single thing about the foundation they just poured.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the future of software. How do we go about balancing the magic? The big takeaway here is that human oversight remains absolutely vital. For simple apps and quick landing pages, yeah, Lovable is undeniably a superpower. But for secure, production-level software, you still really need to learn the AI and mathematical fundamentals. We are obviously moving incredibly fast, but long-term success demands that we treat this technology as a massive time-saving tool, not a total replacement for human reasoning and foundational knowledge.
So, I want to leave you with this final, genuinely provocative question to ponder. Is Lovable the dawn of an unprecedented creative revolution where everyone finally gets to be a builder? Or are we just arming the masses to flood the internet with broken, unencrypted slop code that's just waiting to break? It is a truly fascinating tightrope we are walking right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.